Hello and welcome back to another edition of our TribPreps video series. We are on week 8 and we'll be previewing week eight slate of the high school football season. I had to say that, make sure I say, but and we are here on week 8. There's a couple of games that we're really excited about. Me and Todd are, and we've been looking at this week. Especially the last two regular season weeks here. Really excited about them.
Games.
A couple of big games. We'll get to those in just a little bit. First, we'll run through the list of games we have here. Starting off in the MVC, Onalaska versus Central is one of those games, and Sparta at Holmen is the other that we'll be going deeper into here. And of course, West Salem and Toma over in the MVC is the last MVC matchup. Logan will play Wisconsin Rapids non-conference. And over in the SWAL, we have Aquinas Lancaster, Onalaska Luther, Iowa Grant. Brookwood at Bangor in the Scenic Bluffs. Brookwood, of course, was the last team to knock off Bangor in 2013 there. Mm-hmm. And then we have Royal Cashton, South Central with Black River Falls at Adams Friendship. River Valley at Westby in the SWC. Dodgeville at Prairie du Chien. Platteville at Arcadia. Oliva Strum at Melrose Manduro in the Dairyland. Blair Taylor at Augusta. Pine Island will be taking on Caledonia in the nation's longest win streak over there in Minnesota. And DeSoto at Ithaca is a big game over at the Ridge and Valley Conference. And non-conference, like I said, Logan's taking on Wisconsin Rapids and Viroqua at Richland Center. And Todd
and GET gets a bye from that Westfield program. So
yes,
they didn't have a GET game because they don't have one.
Yep, they don't have one. They get an automatic 2-0 victory over Westfield. That's how that works. Automatic victory. But Todd, we have to start Onalaska Central, of course, because this is a game that's. Or Sparta. Let's start Sparta Holmen. Let's start Sparta. Let's go to the Sparta Holmen. That's the game you're going to be at. Mm-hmm. Of course, Kolasnewski and Sparta playing real well, but Holmen, man, they've been really impressive. Just take me through it. What are you kind of looking forward to the most out of this matchup?
Been a while since Holmen's given up a point, so that's one thing you have to start with, especially with a team like Sparta coming in. They score a ton of points. So it's going to be interesting to see how that Holmen defense can hold up against the Sparta offense. And Kolasnewski, who, always finds a way to get something done. I mean, last week he against Central ran for 240-some yards, forced a turnover, had a lot of tackles, did a lot of things in that game. And Sparta held off Central 38-33. It was a really good game, especially in the second half. A lot of back and forth and some big plays and everything. So, but Holmen hasn't really given into that this year, so we'll see how that one goes. I think I'm just more interested in how the Holmen defense does. I know they can move the ball. Mm-hmm. It's tough to slow down that Holmen offense. That's what you have to try to do, and when you square off with them. But I'm really curious to see how this Holmen defense can stand up to the Sparta offense.
And of course, Holmen has a lot of playmakers on that defense, whereas Drake Shams, we know, is very disruptive along that defensive line. Ryland Wall has been playing all over the field for them as well. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And also another point, too, is that, when I was talking to Travis Kowalski after last week's game when they pummeled, Logan there, was just the fact that, he was very upfront saying that Holmen kind of took Sparta lightly last year. Mm-hmm. And
he offered that up right away.
Yeah, and that was something he was very blunt about, and Sparta took it to him. They won 28-6 last year. Sparta did, and really handed it to him. He said, that's not gonna. I can tell you pretty honestly, that's not gonna happen this week. And he's been calling this week redemption week for that. So Holmen's gonna be pretty fired up. It's gonna be interesting to see if Sparta can really match that, and I think they can because of what we've seen so far this year. But it's going to be, like you said, a really fun matchup, and especially the offense. Holmen, I think Brett Holden is going to have a huge game, and it'll be interesting to see what Cam Weber can do also as well, who showed he can throw a ball very well last weekend. Had 3 touchdown passes and another rushing one as well. So Holmen, I think, is firing on all cylinders, but like you said, Todd, so is Sparta.
You got two teams here with a lot on the line. If you're Holmen, you want to try to get to that Onalaska game, the last week of the season undefeated. If you're Sparta, you win this game, you're non-conference the last week, but you got through the season with 1 loss, and you got a chance at winning a share of the championship. And that's never happened in Sparta. Yeah. So there's a lot of motivation on both sides of this. Sparta, you want to do something for the first time. Holmen, you want to set up another really big game with your rival for next week and give yourself a chance to win that championship.
And I think Sparta, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think Sparta's really just been so impressive. I think it's kind of maybe surprised us a little bit because we knew what they did last year, and we knew, they had a lot of expectations coming in, but we weren't sure about the whole team, and they just kind of, every week they just kind of come out and just, kind of handle their business too as well.
Yeah, and we've kind of beaten that point into the ground throughout the season with, all the new faces that were there, but they're showing that they belong, that's for sure, and they're beating good teams and hanging with everyone, and this will be just kind of be the latest test. I mean, they hung right with Onalaska.
Yes.
Defensively, just can get a stop in the fourth quarter, and then lost that game by a touchdown. And we know how good Onalaska's been this year, so they played right with them. And I would suspect they can play right with Holmen unless Holmen really jumps on them right away and kind of takes them out quick and rolls from there.
And of course, Todd, you'll be at that game, so follow Todd along for any highlights, updates, that type of stuff on Twitter. And as for me, I'll be at Onalaska versus Central, and of course, it's a big matchup. Just the quarterback power alone, Austin Larson, Johnny Davis is gonna be a good one.
Yes, it is. And watching how Central hung in that game with Sparta last week, Terrence Thompson had a huge receiving night, over 200 yards, and Johnny Davis just was Johnny Davis, I guess. His name has become a way to describe him. The way he plays, and we're talking football. That's his number 2 sport.
Yeah, seriously.
With basketball coming up, but he really kept Central in that game. And I think if people look, he threw for over 400 yards, and ran for, I think it was a little less than 100, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're Sparta, I don't think you get all upset with your defense. You can look at numbers and say, yeah, they gave up this many points, this many yards. But they made Johnny Davis work for everything he got. There were a couple of throws that were open across the middle that he made, but some of those throws were just throws that only Johnny can make.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Adam Dow afterward, and I said, I don't think the defense has anything to hang their heads about with the way they played that game. It was a 38-33 game. It's not something where you're going to laud your defense over. But I think they really made him work and make Johnny Davis type plays. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if I said that last week or not, but that was my takeaway from this was Sparta did that. Johnny Davis is just going to make a lot of defenses look like they don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. That's just, he can run so well. I mean, he's passed for 1,400 and run for 1,100.
Yeah, he's the area's third leading rusher.
Yeah, 160 yards a game that he's running for, and he's just a handful for defense, and he's going to be a handful for Onalaska's defense, no matter how they fare. If they fare well, it's going to be because they played well every down and didn't give up the big play. Like I said, he can do a lot of things to a defense, but you have to go into a realistic too. You're not going to shut him down.
No,
it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you can stop him from making big plays or force him to make the big plays and take everything else away.
Yeah, I think red zone defense, because like you said, they're going to move the ball, Johnny Davis and the Red Raiders.
They are.
You just got to hold them, when you get down to that area, and try and limit the big plays when you can, because all of a sudden you look and Johnny Davis is gone for 50 yards.
And it doesn't matter where you are on the field. He can take off and take it to the end zone from wherever. He's, you watch him and he can pull away from defenders running. He's that fast.
Easily, yeah.
So
especially on that turf too.
Being a big guy, you maybe don't expect that, and that's what he can do. And Central beat Onalaska last year, so again, going back to motivation, Onalaska has a lot. Central also should have some confidence going in with the way it played last year.
Yeah, and Onalaska too, we mentioned Austin Larson, but this is going to be one of those games where Levinsky's, if this is one of those games where Shisinski decides, okay, we got to keep Johnny Davis on the sidelines as much as possible, and that means Levinsky getting 20 to 30 carries, and I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, and they have no problem doing that. He has no problem with the workload. He carried the ball a ton against Sparta as that game went on, and Sparta couldn't do anything with him.
Yeah, that was the key to that fourth quarter there.
Yeah, the offensive line played really well that night, and if they can play well and run him, and as you said, keep Johnny off the field, I think they'll do it.
Yeah, and the last game here in the MVC, West Salem at Toma. We'll just briefly touch on this one. Todd, does West Salem get their first win of the season, you think?
Both teams are kind of reeling.
They are. Both teams looking for their first MVC win.
Yep. I mean, Toma's lost 5 in a row. West Salem hasn't won yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think both teams desperately need it. You don't want to go through a season and not get a win.
Yeah.
Obviously, playoffs aren't an issue for anybody right now with this. And Toma just has to try to get back to where it was the first 2 weeks, and West Salem has to get somewhere it hasn't been yet. And if you're playing for West Salem, you don't want to be the team that goes over for the first time in I don't know how long. I have to go look that up. So again, I think both teams have a lot to play for. I think both teams have to be saying this is a winnable game. If you're West Salem, you're going to have to show something new to get it done.
Yeah. And, Todd, let's touch on Bangor, too. Brookwood at Bangor. Brookwood, like I mentioned, the Falcons were the last team to, beat Bangor in the Scenic Bluffs, and Bangor has not lost since 2013 in Bangor's Bluffs, or the Scenic Bluffs. And Mitchell, for Brookwood, their run game is where it's at right now. Mitchell Klinkner, that's where it's key. He's now our leading rusher, close to 1,200 yards, near 170 per game. And of course, Bangor only allows 50 yards rushing a game. 53. So
they've given up 24 points.
24.
So that's going to be what you're looking at if you go to that game. What can Bangor do with Mr. Klinkner? They also have Caden Brandow, their quarterback, can also run. I think he's about 60 yards a game too. So it's not all in one person. But Brookwood has had a lot of success running the ball, and Bangor's had a lot of success stopping people from running the ball. So Brookwood comes in with one loss. It's a team that still has a shot to try and catch, or a shot to catch Bangor. But I think we'll see Bangor ready for this game, especially knowing that Brookwood's the last team to beat it. You don't want to lose to that same team again. And I just think Bangor has probably played a lot better this season. So,
is it close?
If you're looking for I don't know that anybody can stay close to Bangor until we get pretty deep into the playoffs.
Their size
so offensively and defensively.
Up front, their size is just alone, and they're so well coached too. And
if you have to say someone has a chance, you have to look at Brookwood for that. So we'll see how that unfolds on Friday.
Yeah, we sure will. Well, Todd, is there any other game that really kind of excites you this week? Or?
No, I'm a couple.
Okay.
I think that Aquinas-Lancaster game, I'm looking forward to seeing how Aquinas bounces back.
That's true.
After the tough loss to Mineral Point. And Mineral Point-Lancaster, it's a toss-up as to which team is better. So they gave up 52 last week. We'll see if the defense plays better in that game and can stay a little closer this time. And that DeSoto-Ithaca game, it's been a while. Weird to say that. It's been a while since DeSoto's won the Ridge and Valley, and if they can win this game, they at least have a share of that. So something big to play for. Ithaca's been a team that's had DeSoto's number the last few years. So, and Ithaca's just a really good football program, has been for quite a long time. So I think there'll be a lot of eyes on what's going on in that game too.
Yeah, so like we said, a lot of good games for Week 8 here. We're really excited about it. And as we say every week, it's hard to believe it's the second to last week of the season. But
last week we said it's week 7. So we're not saying the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. We're not saying the same thing. So gotta give us credit there. And like always, you find all we do. Follow us. We'll have 4 people, right? At games.
4 people. Yeah, we'll be at Holmen, at UWL. We'll be at Bangor. We'll be at Caledonia. That's right,
Caledonia. I couldn't remember the 4th one. We're gonna be at Pine Island, Caledonia. That's right. And like always, find everything up at lacrossetribune.com. Any updates, highlights, you can find also during the game. We'll be on Twitter. Follow us, Todd, Alex VandenHouten, Todd Sommerfeldt, Eric Lee, and Jeff Brown's doing the game, right?
Jeff Brown will be in Bangor.
Between me and Bangor.
Will be in Caledonia.
Yeah, Eric will be in Caledonia. So follow those guys for updates on those games.
The other thing to consider is following Lacrosse Tribune on Facebook.
Yes.
Everything gets blasted out to that too. If you want stuff to come to you and not go to the site, to have to look for it, give us a follow there on Facebook, and you'll see everything just kind of come right into your stream there.
Yep, yeah. We do all that ourselves. We put all that up on Facebook. So that'll be because that's what I kind of go to right now is Facebook. It works out really nice. It's all right there, and kind of one after another, they'll be out there and
easy to find.
And easy to find. And like always, we'll have follow-ups from Friday night's games on Sunday as well. You can guarantee to follow from Todd's. You can guarantee that. You can guarantee a follow from mine as well.
Another video on Friday night.
Yes, another video on Friday nights. And we're looking forward to doing that. But for me, Alex VandenHouten, and to my left, Todd, take care tonight, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Thanks.